Hey, viewers and viewers, my name is Propagandist. Propagandist, sorry, not Propagandist, sorry. I'm in completely the wrong mood here. General Red Strategist, ladies and gentlemen, that's the channel you're on right now. Watching some more Surrey being hunted, episode 559. This is now something I just need to make clear right from the get-go. This commentary, my voice that you're hearing right now, this isn't actually my in-game commentary. I'm actually recording this after I recorded the episode, because unfortunately I goofed up, and I had a bit of an issue. Basically, what happened was, what happened was, on Saturday the 22nd of April, I basically did my reaction to RWBY Volume 9, Episode 10, and in order to do that, usually I have to basically set up my computer. I take out my headset, and basically plug in a set of special headphones plus my webcam, so obviously I can record all my reaction footage and all that. Whenever I do that, though, I have to remember that causes Bandicam to forget the microphone audio input, so I have to reset that every time I then obviously reconnect my default headset and bring Bandicam up. Turns out I completely forgot to do that, because it is now Sunday the 23rd of April as of when I record both, this footage that you're seeing right now and this audio that you're hearing right now. And so in essence, basically, Sunday 23rd of April, I completely goofed up and I forgot to make sure I'd set on Bandicam back to my default headset. So as a result, basically I recorded the episode, then realised it hadn't actually recorded any of my commentary. So, if my memory serves me correctly, that's not the first time I've done that, but it's been a long time, basically, ladies and gentlemen, since I did that. I just goofed up, okay? But, I didn't want my footage to actually go to waste, because, as you'll see, I basically played across a whole other island on this map. It's the same map, actually, that me and Phil were recording on in the last episode, incidentally. So I didn't want the footage to go to waste, so I just thought, fuck it, I'll basically open Audacity, and I'll just do some post-episode audio commentary for about the length of the video, and then I'll just sort of add that in the editing process, and you can, listen to me chattering away about the topics that originally I talked about when I was recording the episode, which I'll talk about now instead. So, the first thing really that I want to actually just mention fairly quickly, well, I say fairly quickly, but knowing me, I'll probably waffle on about it for a bit. I already mentioned Propagandist, so I'll talk a bit about that. So, as of when this video is recorded, basically, I've finished RWBY Volume 9. Episode 10, my reaction to Episode 10 has gone live on the Propagandist channel, and it was a decent way to wrap up that little series. So, if you are following Propagandist, you haven't seen that video, then you may want to go and watch it and all that. It's been a decent volume as Volume 9, quite enjoyed it. So, I'll be keeping my eyes peeled, of course, for news of RWBY Volume 10, if and when that gets greenlit, which I'm hoping it is. It should be, right? I don't see why it wouldn't be. But in the meantime, of course, that means that now, over on Propagandist, if I'm going to keep up some regular uploads over there, I've got to do some different content, potentially. So, there's potentially more RWBY content that I could do, because the thing is, there's a 4th season of RWBY Chibi airing on the Rooster Teeth channel, which I could do reactions to, if I wanted to, which I may well do, because I always feel like with RWBY, obviously the main sort of series, that's kind of like the main course, and then RWBY Chibi seasons are kind of like the dessert afterwards that you can have just to sweeten your palate after all the absolutely heavy subject matter that the main series addresses. You then have Chibi, which just gives you a load of comedy escapades and whatever else have you. So I may well do some reaction content to that in due course. Plus, I still have ambitions to do other various things like anime reviews, perhaps. Get back to some of those, because I haven't done an anime review over on Propagandist for a while. I have a few things, anime series and films and things that I could potentially do, which I have in mind. So you may well see more stuff like that in due course. But, in the meantime, I've also just been thinking about what other kind of content could I potentially do over on Propagandist, because now, I've talked about Lackadaisy before in my Surrey Being Hunted series. There was an episode I did on it a while back, and I may have already mentioned in one of the more recent Sir episodes, but yeah, the pilot for the Lackadaisy animation was released on their channel recently, and I did a reaction to it, reaction to the pilot, and that's over on Propagandist, so if you want to go and watch that, you can do. So of course, Lackadaisy, you know, I'll be keeping my eye out for any more of that, because I imagine they'll be doing a full series of that, based on the sort of positive reviews and feedback that they've had on the pilot. Well, I think they've had positive reviews and feedback on it. At least, you know, a quick scroll through the comments on the pilot suggests that people really enjoyed it. So yeah, more Lackadaisy content is definitely something I want to do, but I need, you know, other content potentially to do over on there, because the thing is, you know, the last few months I've actually been uploading to Propagandist semi-regularly, which has actually been good, because sometimes with Propagandist it feels like previously there were long spells on that channel where I wouldn't upload anything, and so sometimes it would feel like that channel was a bit, well, not dead, but a bit sort of semi-dead. So it's good to have had, you know, a period of life over on that channel. And the thing is, it's, you know, not been doing too bad. The subscriber count on there at the moment has gone up to something like 506, and at the 506 as of the moment I record this. And if you look at, certainly at, for example, my Ruby Volume 9 reaction videos, they've been doing okay views-wise. At least they've been getting a fair number of views. Like some of the more recent Volume 9 reaction episodes, they've been getting, what, upwards of 1,000 views, some of those, which has been really, really good. Quite high for a General Red / Propagandist video. Obviously, it doesn't come close to the highest viewed video here on Strategist, which is probably a Sir episode from back in the day. I think it's the highest viewed video on the General Red Strategist channel. I think it's the Landowner episode, something like episode 50 or 51, when you know, I did the showcase of the Landowner for the first time. That has something like 50k views or whatever. It may well have climbed up since then, I don't know. But yeah, sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. But yeah, so Propagandist, I kind of want to try, if possible, to keep up some, maybe not sort of regular content, but certainly semi-regular content, just so that there aren't quite huge spells of lack of activity over on that channel. So, you know, Ruby Chibi Season 4 could be a way to just help keep things tiding over on there in the meantime. But at the same time, it'll be good for me to have a look around and see if there's any other things like animated series or anything that I could do over on there. I mean, one idea I potentially had was, I mean, you know, of course, that I'm a big fan of the Danganronpa series, and every so often I like to play Danganronpa fan games. But the thing is, there's not just Danganronpa fan games out there, there are also Danganronpa fan video series, which, you know, people have done as alternative to games. And I wonder if it's possible to do reactions to some of those, maybe, because I think there's some of those which are quite highly rated. I think there's the one called Danganronpa F Shattered Hope, something like that, which I believe is quite a popular one. So that's a possibility. I wonder if it would probably be easier to just directly message the creators of those channels and maybe just ask them, you know, would they be happy for me to do like facecam, let's watch / reaction style videos to their series? Maybe, who knows? But then again, you know, I've been thinking, would I do that on Propagandist, or would I actually do that here on Strategist? And I've sort of had a bit of an internal debate about that, and thought, if I was to do Let's Watches of Danganronpa fan video series, I'm wondering if it would be better to do those on Strategist rather than Propagandist, because, well, just because most of my Danganronpa content, in fact the overwhelming majority of it, is here on Strategist, not on Propagandist. In fact, there's only one Danganronpa related video over on my Propagandist channel, and that's a review of the Danganronpa animation, not DR3, that is, Danganronpa the animation, the animated adaptation of Trigger Happy Havoc. So yeah, I'm sort of leaning towards, if I was to do reactions to the, you know, Danganronpa video fan projects, I'd have to do them here on Strategist rather than elsewhere, as it would make more sense to do so. But so that's a possibility for me to think about. But another idea that I have had is, well, recently on YouTube, you know, every so often you get recommended channels and videos that you've never heard of before. And recently here on YouTube, I've had a channel called Glitch recommended to me, which I believe is an Australian indie animation studio. And they have a few sort of short series, including one that's been recommended to me called Murder Drones. And I did a quick sort of YouTube search just to have a look and see, are there any sort of like reaction channels out there who've done um, content on murder drones, and it looks like there are a few. So I'm wondering if that's one of those kind of series here on YouTube where the creators would be fine with me doing, for example, like facecam let's watches slash reaction videos to episodes of it, or episodes of some of their other series, for instance. So I suppose really, actually, that would be an interesting question for you guys watching this. Are any of you familiar with Glitch and any of their content? And if so, is it any good? Is it enjoyable? Is it worth me potentially watching and looking to see if I could do let's watches or reaction content to over on Propagandist? Because, you know, it's an idea. It's something that I could potentially do if, you know, if and when I found some time, and if, you know, if copyright wouldn't be an issue and all that. Because the thing is, like, you know, often with let's watch and reactions, you know, when you upload them, they do get copyright struck, but depending on the studio, they may not necessarily get blocked. They may just get monetized by third parties, which I'm absolutely okay with, because, you know, neither of my strategist or propagandist channels are monetized. I don't earn anything off them, so I'm not really bothered if, you know, third parties monetize them, as long as they don't block any of my videos. I'm kind of okay with that. So yeah, Glitch, that channel, let me know if you're familiar with it. Is any of their content quite enjoyable? Though having said that, another series actually from a completely different studio, which some of my propagandist viewers did suggest to me, I think at least one of them asked me about it, is a series called Helluva Boss, which I think I have heard of before, and I think I have seen screen caps of it. Is it not a series where everyone's kind of like anthro characters, something like that? Which I believe is supposed to be quite popular, from what I've heard. I believe there are channels out there who've done reaction content to it, so I'm assuming, again, it's one of those kind of series where the creators would be fine with me doing facecam reactions to. So maybe that's a possibility. So again, if you have any knowledge of that, if you've watched any of it, and, you know, if it's enjoyable, if it's worth it, then I suppose you could let me know down in the comments. Is it something that would be worth me having a watch of, potentially? Yeah, that's that there. The other sort of possibility, which, again, I've noticed there are channels who do this, is doing sort of like let's watch slash reactions to movies, films. But the only problem with that is they would require a lot of editing, because of course most films and things like that, if you upload footage of them, they're going to get copyright. Content ID'd pretty quickly, so you can't really just upload the full unedited footage of the film or the movie. So probably what you'd have to do there is you'd have to do a lot of editing around it, in terms of probably like blurring certain sections of the film, or like silencing sections of the audio, perhaps as you talk and things like that, or maybe just doing you know, watching it in your time and then just maybe editing the footage so that it focuses on reactions to things like key scenes in the film and all that. Because I've seen some like movie reaction channels do that, to avoid, obviously, you know, being struck for copyright and things like that. So it's a possibility, but having said that, it will probably be quite a time-consuming one. Because the thing is, I mean, like, my reactions to Ruby Volume 9, you know, they do take a bit of editing, because obviously I have to record my face cam and then the episode itself using separate programs. And then, of course, I have to export those, bring them together in my video editor, line them up perfectly, do any sort of little editing requirements that are required for either, you know, for any of the footage, and then of course I have to export that, upload it, so obviously that does take a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. You know, it's not too onerous, Ruby reactions, at least they haven't been so far, so, you know, hence why I've been able to get them out, certainly for Volume 9 on a weekly basis, and indeed, you know, for like Volume 6, well not 6, but Volume 7 through 8, you know, I was getting them out on a freaking daily basis, but that was because I pre-recorded my reactions to the episodes in advance, admittedly. So, yeah, editing obviously is always a kind of factor that I have to take into account with Propagandist content. In fact, that's one reason why I haven't done any Girls and Panzer content on Propagandist for a while, because in my experience, my Girls and Panzer content, that required a fair bit of editing, of like cutting and trimming footage and all that, which kind of explains why I haven't really done any more of it for quite some time. Just because, yeah, it's a bit of work, that one. Partly because, again, copyright. When you upload elements of girls and panzer footage and things like that, as a general rule, Sentai or whoever it is, they tend to bring the copyright hammer down on you if it's, you know, bits of footage that have audio on them, or if it's bits of footage that go on for like longer than 5 or 10 seconds or however long. So like I say, you have to do a lot of like recording of just basic footage that can go in the background, and then trim and splice it a lot so that, you know, it's not just one long seamless bit of footage that's potentially going to get copyright struck. So yeah, that's always something I have to bear in mind, and obviously, you know, any sort of editing process has to be balanced around keeping up daily upload consistency here on Strategist, so recording games for this channel, and of course my full-time job, IRL. That of course is always a bit of an issue. So yeah, there's considerations that I have to take into account and all that, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, I'm always willing to be open to suggestions and things like that. So I suppose really the key thing of this episode that I want to ask you guys is there anything you recommend for Propagandist? Anything that I've mentioned here or anything I haven't, feel free to let me know. Now, we're coming up towards the end of the episode, so it's probably time for me to start wrapping up here. Facebook links down below. Obviously, a link to my Propagandist channel is down in the video description as well. But other than that, yeah, I'm going to sign off round about here, ladies and gentlemen. So leave me your thoughts on any of the suggestions that I've made in this video down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode where I hopefully won't goof. Goodbye, everybody. Maybe I want to stay sort of behind these, possibly behind these tanks. Damn, I fucking love this game already. I've not even done 10 episodes of it yet, but it's really freaking good. Alright, where are we here? Observation Tower, General's Office, Distillery, Officers' Quarters, Latrine. Oh, there's the front gate. We came sort of round this side, didn't we? Yeah, because there's the bunker. Then we sort of came in over here. Right. Yeah, because here's all like that bunch of tanks where we are at the moment. Alright, so bloody General's Office is right on the other side of it. So maybe we just have to go in like a big arc. I'm concealed. That's good to know. Okay, it's like fucking Assassin's Creed, isn't it? Oh, shit. There's a couple of them over there.